What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. And if you guys have been following here for a while, you know that off-season talk is enormous here on WardyNYM. We are covering the nit and gritty, everything that you need to know about the Metropolitans all off-season long. So all I ask is that if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Help us get to 20K subscribers. We're only a couple K away right now. Thank you guys so much for the support. We are the largest Mets platform, not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY here on YouTube, and not even a 2-year span. Thanks to all you amazing Mets fans for your endless support. It is beyond appreciated, folks. But today's discussion is on the Mets and their focus this offseason. Steve Cohen, the big wallet of an owner for the New York Mets. How much money is he willing to shell out this offseason? Billy Epler, how much money is he getting green lighted to spend? Well, according to these reports that we will be referencing today from Tim Healy and the other Tim, that being in Tim Britton, both of Newsday and then The Athletic. Check out their articles down below after this video if you haven't already, folks. And it starts with Tim Healy's report here that yes, according to Billy Epler, he has been green lighted to spend large amounts of money for another consecutive offseason. If you're wondering why would the Mets do this after having a $290 million payroll for a 101 win regular season team in 2022 that fell short down the stretch in postseason, as we know, well, it's because the Mets don't just have one, not two, not three, but they have a plethora of key free agents set to hit the market, headlined by Jacob deGrom, Edwin Diaz, Brandon Nimmo, Seabass, Taijuan Walker. The list goes on, and realistically, you're not going to be able to bring all these players back. And if you want to at least have a sustainable roster that can compete with the talent that was his 2022 Mets team, then you need to shell out more money. Steve Cohen has made it noted, this is the Dodgers East. This is what he's trying to build. And regardless of the Dodgers' lack of postseason success, winning it all over the past decade, they have been a powerhouse by spending big in the offseason while keeping key free agents until they build such a big farm, a top 1 or top 3 in all baseball, to then they are willing to shell out those prospects when needed to land big fish, especially at trade deadlines, something that the Mets were very hesitant in doing back in this past year's trade deadline because they felt that the farm just wasn't there for them yet. They don't want to give up their top guys. So if you don't want to give up your top young talent, you need to continue to spend until you get to that comfortability with your farm group, and that is exactly what the Mets are expected to do once again this offseason. So the question is, how much more money is Steve Cohen willing to spend here? Well, if we have any idea, it's going to be at minimum a $300 million payroll. I do not foresee a world whatsoever where the Mets head into the 2023 season and they don't have, at absolute worst, a $300 million payroll, which of course would be that threshold with the luxury tax. And I know that's a big task, that's a big thing to say for a Mets team that with their key 13 free agents right now to varying degrees, all not coming back in that hypothetical, the Mets with arbitration to guys like Alonso, McNeil, and others, they're still going to be spending an assumed projected $220 to $25 million for this roster without even adding deGrom, Diaz, etc. heading into this upcoming year. So what does that mean? The Mets are only going to have, if we're talking about strictly a $300 million payroll, folks, they're only going to have $75 million to rack up a total of whether it's going to be the likes of a key starter or two, 6 relievers, because the Mets bullpen is in complete disarray right now. Everyone and their mother is set to hit the open market, and adding at least one significant bat to help balance this offense that definitely was too hit or miss when it came to the home run ball this past year. They were very reliant on the small hitting game, grounding, getting infield singles, getting some doubles, too reliant on the Pete Alonsos and the Francisco Lindors of the world for their extra base hits. The Mets need to add more to that. They expect to what degree we will soon find out. But what we do know, again, folks, is that the Mets, if they want to bring all their free agents back this upcoming year, they would have to spend an assumed $150+ million, which would be an assumed payroll of over $370 million. That is in no chance going to happen whatsoever. So with at least bringing some of these guys back, can the Mets handle things at just $300 million? No, they cannot. So I've had this debate with Anthony Recker, former Met, now MLB Network analyst, my co-host on the Bleav in Queens podcast. Check it out on the YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts, and Joe Sorrell to a lesser extent. Again, I just don't see how the New York Mets can go out here, have a $300 million payroll next year and feel comfortable, because they will have gaping holes starting with the bullpen. than the rotation and little to no offensive upgrades while being completely reliant on the young kids in Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos. And those are guys I want to see given a leash. I think there's a strong possibility we will see that at the DH position, but you still want to add more certainties there for a Mets team that's looking to be a consistent competitor, not only heading into 2023, but in the years going forward. So Steve Cohen, his ability to open up the wallet, the richest owner in baseball, a diehard fan, he's expected to do that again and tenfold to a higher degree than maybe what we've even seen before. So the question now is, if the Mets can't just go to $300 million without really satisfying us fans and having a competent full roster that keeps us comfortable down the stretch heading into potential postseason 2023, how much more money do they need to spend beyond that? And again, when you look at things, I would personally imagine that the Mets at minimum spend upwards of $330 million, because if they spend upwards of $330 million, and this is where Tim Britton's great articles for The Athletic come into play, again, make sure to check them out. Phenomenal breakdown on all the Mets free agents, what they can do with trading some guys, arbitration eligible players, everything going on there. But he may note that if the Mets again get to $325 to $330 million on their payroll for 2023, that will give them a stronger leash in bringing back Jacob deGrom with an assumed overpay, bringing back an Edwin Diaz, along with potentially adding some more. And then if you really want to get crazy and you want to get in that realm of $350 million payroll, then you could think of the pipe dreams in an Aaron Judge. Or if you don't get Judge, maybe you want a Carlos Correa, maybe you want to put him at third base, maybe you want to put Brett Beatty in the corner outfield. You can have a lot of creative ways to go about things. I would be a little surprised if the Mets go all the way to $350 million. I think that's a tall task. Is it impossible? No. But I do personally, in my opinion, at this juncture, again, everything changes. My opinions change. It feels like every single day when covering this Mets team throughout the offseason, because different conflicting reports come in left and right. I personally think a realistic payroll for this Mets team is between $325 to $330 million. That gives them the leeway to address the rotation with Jacob deGrom at the forefront. Worse, if he does in fact lead this Mets team, then you can go out and potentially get a Carlos Rodon, who I advocated heavily for the Mets getting last offseason, in which he signed a one-year deal with the San Francisco Giants. Maybe lesser guys like a Tyler Anderson. I mean, you want lefties, right? Maybe even an Andrew Heaney as kind of that David Pearson type 2.0. You can have him in the back end of the rotation for a couple innings. Have him eating innings out of the bullpen. I'm assuming he's a free agent. I could be wrong. I know Anderson is. Heaney, I'm not so sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. The point is that with the Mets, with a lot of rotation pieces outside of Max Scherzer, soon to be gone, Carlos Carrasco, great chance he'll be back because the Mets have a team option for him. And with the lack of depth for this rotation, you got to get those certainties. Even though Cookie wasn't the best, you need this depth vitally. So I would be surprised if the Mets do not pass up, if they in fact do pass up rather, on that team option they have with Cookie. But from the bullpen, you need to add 6 relievers. Are you going to be able to bring back not only Diaz, but a Lugo, a May, a Givens, or do you want to go externally there? Mets have a lot of options, but one thing to certain Mets fans, they are expected to spend and spend big this offseason. Do not find yourself in the mindset that Steve Cohen is going to sit back, relax, and not go all out aggressive once again. The only difference is that the Mets are going to be focused far more on their internal free agents, and a guy that I don't even think I mentioned earlier, and if I didn't, I apologize, and Brandon Nimmo. He's a guy that they definitely want to bring back. Aaron Judge is a pipe dream. I'm not going to get my hopes up on that front right now. So you want to bring back Nimmo. You want to bring back Jake. You want to bring back Diaz. Those core 3. And then from there, Chris Bassett. Does he have potential to return? Taijuan Walker, I think that's on the outside looking in. What I know, again, folks, is that the New York Mets are in a position where they are expected to spend and spend big. They're not going to spend irrationally. They're going to spend the best of their abilities to have this be a consistent competitor in 2023. Hopefully a similar team, if not better than what we saw in 2022. Maybe a more well-rounded club, whether that's from the bullpen or whether that's from the offensive standpoint, with having some more pop on maybe some guys that'll surprise you either internally or externally. The Mets are destined to make some amazing and really crazy moves happen this offseason, and we're going to be following, waiting, and seeing all offseason long that we will be covering here right on the channel. So Mets fans, that's going to conclude this video. Thank you all so much for watching. My question to you, to everyone, to answer in the comments down below: how big of a payroll do you expect Steve Cohen, Bleav, Charlie Epler and this New York Mets team to have this offseason. Again, my assumption right now is around upwards of $330 million. Is that too high? Is that too low for you personally? Let me know in the comments. And as always, folks, if you found yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you guys all so much for the continued support. Expect more great content on the channel all off season long, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby.